We don't use hypotheticals around here because ultimately hypotheticals aren't that persuasive. We use facts, we use videos, we use stories, we use documents. We use documents to expose this enormous level of black criminality and black and white hostility. So to use a hypothetical is just to make up something and ask somebody to believe your little fairy tale. So when we say in Philadelphia, for example, well, those two black guys walked into a coffee shop and they said it was racism when they asked to use the restroom, and they brought their own water in, then they asked to use the restroom, and they asked to sit down, all without paying. That is clearly racism. And the mayor of Philadelphia goes on TV and he says, shaking my head, 2018. Starbucks takes 177,000 employees and gives them a day off so they can go to racial sensitivity training. So if we say here, well, what if two white guys did it? No, that's too weak. With so many cases of black on white hostility here, sometimes they're so enormous, sometimes they're so consequential, even a local news station can't ignore it. That's what happened up in near Boulder, in the Boulder/Denver area, to Andrew Graham. They buried the lead way down in the story, but who cares? We know it's there. 5 black people got off of a light rail, a subway, whatever you're calling them in Denver these days. 5 black people followed this kid, Andrew Graham, a student at the University of Colorado. They robbed him and killed him. And in the court documents, they said the reason they did it is because he was white. This is a strange story. Not just strange for they had to admit it, not just that it was a black on white thing, not just strange because it's taken so long, but it's all the weird legal machinations. I don't know what's going on with this story, but let's give it a go.
Renewed hopes for justice as investigators get closer to solving a 9-year-old murder. 23-year-old Andrew Graham was shot to death in his neighborhood in Centennial as he walked home from the light rail. No one was ever arrested or charged until now. CBS 4 investigator Brian Moss breaking the story live tonight from the light rail stop at I-25 and County Line Road. Brian?
And Jim, as you probably remember, Andrew Graham was walking home from this light rail station in 2009 when he was murdered. We've gotten word tonight that a grand jury actually indicted 4 people in this case, and they were arrested nearly a year and a half ago. But with a gag order in place and the case legally sealed, word never got out about this major break until now. Jailed in connection with Graham's murder are Clarissa Lockhart, Alan Ford, Kendall Austin, and Joseph Martin. They were charged with felony murder, along with conspiracy and racketeering charges for the 2009 death of Andrew Graham.
It won't bring my son back, but maybe there'll be a measure of justice for him.
Graham's mother has always believed her son's killer or killers would be brought to justice, and to her these indictments are a step in that direction.
I'm glad that they will be held accountable, at least in some small measure, for what they've done.
According to court documents obtained by CBS 4, an Arapahoe County grand jury indicted these 4 for the Graham murder in January of 2017. They were arrested within days and have been in jail ever since, charged with being connected to the homicide. But it was a closely held secret. Was it hard not to tell anybody for a year?
No, because I understood the plan.
These same documents say a 5th person, the actual gunman, identified as Terrell Jones, has not yet been arrested or charged. Police always suspected these 5 of being involved in Graham's death, but there was never enough evidence to make any arrests. In fact, in 2011, the previous DA in Arapahoe County convened a grand jury, but they concluded there was not enough evidence to file charges. However, a new DA met a new grand jury, and this time, a different result. DA George Brockler is not talking about the indictments or what led to them, citing this gag order, which went into effect just after the arrests. But Graham's mother credits Brockler and his staff with pushing the case and not letting it languish.
Just a little bit numb, not fully believing it was actually going to happen. Finally, there's some movement. Finally, someone cared enough to take it that extra mile.
As CBS 4 has previously reported, investigators have long believed gang members targeted Graham because he was white and might have money.
It's going to take time, and it has to be done right because we only get one shot. And I can wait.
Now, one of the suspects in the case, Joseph Martin, has already pleaded guilty to a lesser charge and been sentenced to 10 years in prison.
He is a brave little girl in New Hampshire, a 9-year-old who ran after the robber who stole her great-grandmother's purse. That thief grabbed the purse right out of the 83-year-old's hands in her driveway. And as Julie McDonald reports from Manchester, that's when her great-granddaughter jumped into action.
It all happened so fast and would be shocking for anyone, but this little girl didn't miss a beat.
Every time I go down an alley, I'm looking behind myself. I'm like,
it up a notch.
So in this commercial,
Feel a little nervous.
yeah, because that person ran down the alley, so.
9-year-old Kylene is feeling a little uneasy, and she has every right to be. Monday afternoon, she and her great-grandmother were robbed.
At her home, in her driveway, in the daylight.
The two were on their way back from lunch and pulled onto Wilson Street.
So we go home, she steps right out of the car. 1 foot out. Man comes running in, grabs, pulls her, the rest of her body out, and then grabs her purse, starts to run, tries to get on a bike, falls down. I start to chase him.
Kylene said her heart was beating so fast.
Oh, yes, it was. It was racing. I didn't know what to say. I just wanted my mom. That's pretty much all I wanted.
But she was brave for her great-grandmother.
There's money in there. There's her driver license, say some bank cards, stuff like that. Her phone was in there, so she had to get a new phone. And
She's proud of how she reacted
yeah, I was happy about that. That was something I was pleased with myself.
and has a clear message for that suspect who got away.
Give that back, or else they will find you and they will catch you. Guys, you know, every time somebody does something bad, they will always catch you.
That suspect is described as an African-American man who was wearing dark clothing.
So that's why we do these videos. The videos are real. The stories are real. The documents we show are real. The 911 calls, the victims' testimonies, these are all real. So let's get away from the hypotheticals. As soon as you use a hypothetical, well, Colin, if it were two white guys doing that, no, nobody's going to believe you. No one's even going to listen to you. And I know a lot of people use these videos. They use my books. Don't Make the Black Kids Angry, especially. They use the stories that I publish in magazines all over the country, and talk radio we do all over the country, and some television we do all over the country. The other day, somebody said, "Hey, Colin, if the major media had, paid more attention to you, this and that would happen." We had 100 million views on YouTube, fool. That's a lot of views. I was in San Diego for a little more than a month. Just got back, trying to get back on my feet here. I was amazed at the number of people who recognized me and came up and spoke to me. The delivery guy who delivered my Chinese food from Grubhub looked at me and he goes, He couldn't even say my name. "You're Colin Flaherty. Don't Make the Black Kids Angry." Yeah, that's me. So we're moving forward. Things are happening. And they're going to happen to the extent that you and I are persuasive enough to let people know what's happening. And being persuasive starts with sticking with reality. Stay away from stupid causes. Stay away from solutions. The trolls and the losers and the deniers, they want to talk all day long about causes and solutions, but they won't talk about what's in the middle. They won't talk about the violence. That's what we do. Here we talk about the violence, the criminality, the hostility, wildly out of proportion. We document it. Anytime anybody wants to take our eyes off the prize and go to causes or solutions, that is a deflection. That is an admission that, Colin, Well, you've got too much stuff on us. Can we go back to using a sociology textbook I found at the Goodwill store that was published in 1972 that explains how black people are relentless victims of relentless white racism all the time, everywhere? That explains everything. We don't have to go there with other people. We don't have to talk about what they want to talk about. We don't have to anticipate that if we say something, someone's going to call us a bad name. The other day, somebody sent me an email saying, I forget what story it was. We do a lot of stories here. Hey, Colin, can I have the original link to the video you did on that story? I said, well, it's going to take me a while to find it, so just tell me why. Maybe I could be of some help. He goes, well, Colin, I want to put it out, but I'm afraid to put your video out because somebody might think I'm racist. Look, here's the thing. If you're worrying about people calling you names, you don't have any business trying to make this something to talk about. If you're going to be a coward, you're done before you even started. If you think there's some magical words that we can sprinkle over this enormous level of denial, deceit, and delusion that's going to make people feel good about how we expose it, well, you're in deeper denial, deceit, and delusion than lots and lots of the reporters and public officials we talk about here. So we have lots and lots of stories, lots and lots of very persuasive things to put into the public square and say, here we are, this is happening. No matter what John Legend says, no matter if the Pulitzer Prize winner says, and John Legend say, well, we shouldn't report black people to the police because they're just trying to live their lives. Why are you? That's just white privilege. So we still have a lot of mountains to climb. We just need to use the right tools. Video is a good tool. Reality is our best tool. The truth is our best tool. Even if the truth does make the black kids angry.